Well, good morning and welcome to the next episode of the CPO Perspective. And I'm delighted to welcome my guest, Frederic Lourdin. We'll introduce in a minute to explore what's on the mind of CPOs all around the world in different industries in these interesting times. Frederic, good morning. Nice to see you.
Hello, good morning, Richard.
So perhaps we could start. Perhaps you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about, what you're doing at the moment.
Yes. So just to introduce myself, my name is Frederic Lourdin. I'm originally from France. Now I'm based in Switzerland, so since almost 20 years.
Right.
I've been in the procurement industry since 25 years.
Right.
I started as a consultant, so fresh
Okay.
from business school. And then what was interesting in this consulting world was
Right.
definitively to learn about, especially when you are still fresh and young, learning about multiple industries, multiple stakeholders, multiple categories. So maybe this first experience had a significant impact on the future. So, and the way I'm now able to liaise and manage stakeholders, the way I'm able to monitor, but also to guide and to support team members. So it was definitely a very good experience during almost 3 years. And then after that, I moved to the magical world of the pharma and medical device.
Right.
So very interesting from an internal standpoint, but also from an external standpoint, just to see what we can deliver to
Mhm.
patients, how we can support people with disease. So
Right.
it's definitively great.
And this is it's always been a big industry, but I mean, growing fast and technology playing a huge role in medical devices now.
Yes.
It's interesting because I kind of my career was different, but I sort of did a bit of procurement and then went in and did 2 years consultancy. And I agree with you. Looking back, I just have a deep-seated hatred of PowerPoint. But actually, as I really look back, it's exactly as you said. It's that breadth of different clients, different circumstances that just, I think, broadens, well, certainly broadened my perspective about what was out there and the different things. And I suppose in many ways, it's why, I enjoy these conversations, hearing, because CPO is a job, but
Yes.
there's no two CPOs that are doing the same thing in the same way. So tell us a little bit about where you are now. What's give us a sense of,
Yes.
what is your world of procurement where you are today?
So as I said earlier, so I'm in this now medical device, let's say,
Mhm.
since so I'm with Panasonic Healthcare, so since 10 years.
Uh-huh.
I started with one business unit of Panasonic
Right.
called Essentia Diabetes Care. So within
Mhm.
Panasonic, there are 7 business units. So it goes
Wow.
from
Okay.
diabetes to diagnostic to
Right.
healthcare software. And then I started within Essentia Diabetes Care. Essentia Diabetes Care is a spin-off coming from Bayer, dedicated to diabetes management. And then
Okay.
I started with them in 2016. Before that, I was with Abbott during approximately 10
Mm.
years as well. But where am I now? So I started with Essentia. Now I'm the CPO, the head of procurement of Panasonic Healthcare. So Panasonic is a Japanese company.
Right.
We are still learning every day. We are also humble with where we are and where we want to be. In fact, I consider 3 different pillars within the procurement journey. So I consider that we have the basic procurement, so mainly focus on transactional, and then we have
Right.
the intermediate procurement, also with tactical level, and then the third pillar I have in mind is the advanced procurement. So typically mainly
Ah,
focus on strategic. also including AI procurement in this third pillar. So we are not at the beginning of the journey because we already have strong foundation within PHE. But what we need, or what we need to do and what we need to improve is definitively to act as one procurement team to make sure that we support as much as possible the internal stakeholders. And this is where we are today. So PHE is a $2.2 billion US company in terms of
Right.
sales,
Okay.
with approximately 9,000 employees worldwide. So it's a great company.
And you're based in Switzerland now?
I'm based in
Okay.
Switzerland due to historical reason because the headquarters of Ascensia Diabetes Care is in Switzerland, but I have a kind of hybrid mode between Switzerland and Tokyo because I would say 60-70% of the workforce is based in Japan. And
Okay.
looking at the procurement team, we are a team of approximately 80
Okay.
people, and 60 are based in Japan.
Right. That's quite a commute for hybrid working,
Yes.
Tokyo and
Yes.
Tokyo and Geneva. It's not
Yes.
pop
Yes.
home if you forgot something.
Yes. Yes.
Do
Yes.
you know what? Of course I want to ask you what's on your mind, but you've sparked a thought, which is I think it's really interesting that you clarified this distinction of three pillars: a sort of advanced procurement, intermediate procurement, basic or standard
Mm,
procurement, whatever the language was.
mm.
What drove you to do that? Because normally, sorry, not normally. The thing that I hear most commonly is you have a procurement team, which is it's a column. You have three columns. It's a column split into strategic, operational, day-to-day tactical, and the systems are and approaches are still common because it's one column. But if I heard you right, you're suggesting that actually you treat them as three very different kinds of procurement in the way that they work and what they do and what they use. Is that right, or did I misunderstand?
No, in fact, the three pillars I have in mind is just to make sure that we are fully aware as a CPO. We are fully aware of the procurement journey. So
Okay.
just to make sure that we have to be ambitious for sure.
Yeah.
But if uh, you are at the first pillar, just to make sure that before moving to the last one, what I consider the advanced procurement,
Hmm.
you have already ticked all the boxes related to intermediate procurement. Because
Ah.
I will just give you a very simple example. Um, I know significant number of procurement organization where even the CPO doesn't know or is not able to know in a click what are the spends, what are the top 20 vendors.
Okay.
So it's good to be ambitious and to talk about AI. But if you don't have this baseline, just to make sure that you set the foundation, from my point of view, it's a bit like putting the cart before the horses, and then you will go
Got it.
somewhere, but at a certain point of time, you will have showstopper in front of you because one of the box part of the basic, intermediate, advanced was not ticked and could have an impact on the second and the third pillar.
Right. So as true to form, I had misunderstood, but actually that's a really interesting perspective because actually you're not talking about physical division. What you're talking about is, I suppose, graduated procurement knowledge and understanding of the category. And
Exactly.
as you're saying, your expectation is that there is a set of fundamental knowledge about the category, spend being one of those things, suppliers, whatever the their regulation or whatever the requirement, that you would expect every single member of your team to be able to answer straight away. And only when someone's got that fundamental understanding right.
Mm,
And then you move on to that
yes,
deeper
yes,
capability. And then for a few individuals, or maybe many individuals, but across a more targeted set, we need to go to the advanced level of procurement.
mm,
But it's like a triangle. It's a
exactly,
pyramid, isn't it?
exactly. Mm,
Exactly
mm,
right. I understand.
mm, mm,
That's a really interesting perspective, because it's actually very different to that kind of segmentation of role. Different people doing different things. Category managers focusing on the
yeah.
advanced.
Mm.
You know, but you're saying no. As a procurement professional, you've got to have that baseline.
Exactly, and most of the time, I'm also using the word agility. Or what I expect
Right.
from the team is also to be agile. So it really depends on individuals. So depending on where they are coming from.
Uh-huh.
Some people they are coming from external world. Some people they are coming from internal but external department
Mm.
outside of procurement. So I think having the understanding of the full procurement process, including strategy and tactical, this is the best way to put the people in the right. I don't want to use boxes because it's people
No,
that
no, no,
not
no.
be in the boxes, but in the right positions, just to make sure that there is kind of 100% match between their expectation, their
Yeah,
knowledge, and what the market, but also what the company is able to offer, due to the procurement setup, but due
mm,
to the procurement portfolio as well.
right.
Because having in mind only one type of procurement organization is kind of a nonsense from my point of
Mm,
view, because uh, cultural impact, marketing, vendor
yeah, yeah.
portfolio, type of
Mhm.
spends. So yeah, we need to take that into consideration.
Do you know, it's really interesting. I mean, a long time ago, I was an army officer. And, one of the things that you had to do whenever you were given an order to go and do something, you had to do a quick bit of thinking. It was called mission analysis. And you had to ask yourself four questions. And the first question was, what is my higher commander's intent, and what is my part in his plan? And that's exactly what you've just said, which is a procurement professional needs to understand the whole of the procurement journey and what the company is trying to achieve, so that they can execute their responsibility, whatever it is they're supposed to be doing, with that broader knowledge. Who'd have thought that, what I was taught, 35 years ago in the army, is still relevant to business
Yeah,
now.
yes.
So look, I've got to, the question that I love to ask is actually, what, as you look at your team, what's going on in the world, which is not a quiet place at the moment, what's going on with, technology and regulation. There's lots of things that, when I talk to procurement leaders, I hear different people are worried about different things. But, what as you look at everything around you, what's on your mind at the moment? I mean, what is it that's giving you, I suppose, the most cause for concern in your ability and your team's ability to deliver value to the organization?
In fact, I want to make sure that despite the challenges in front of us due to the geopolitical situation, economical
Mm.
situation, uh, we are in good shape, and also have good collaboration with our key vendors, just to make
Right.
sure that it won't impact all the supply chain, all the manufacturing part, uh, because if there is a showstopper in the chain, it does have an impact on our patient. So,
Right.
because at the end of the day, we need to have a look at the final stone of the journey, and the final step is with our patient, so with our end user, and if they are directly impacted, we should definitively work on it to make sure that we mitigate the risk to avoid this kind of situation.
This is, funny enough, one of the things that I love about procurement is that, as you say, you have to take a broad view, and that line of sight from your vendors all the way through to customers. I personally don't think there's another function that has to retain that, that breadth of understanding. But there's a price to pay for that, which is, you're a team of 80, as you said.
Mm.
You will have probably thousands of vendors, small and large, across direct and indirect.
Mm.
How do you ensure that your team are able to maintain visibility of their vendors, of regulation, of what's going on in the market, of before they even begin to talk about what's going on inside your business, then ultimately what's going on with your patients as your ultimate customers? That's a tough thing to do in any business. I mean, how do you go about making sure your team can retain that knowledge and still have the capacity to be agile and recognize when they need to respond to something? Because that strikes me as it's a big challenge.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that my team is close to the business. I want to make sure that my team is close to the internal what we call internal stakeholder, or the business owner, because procurement cannot work in isolation. So we can have access to market data, trends, forecasts, but if we work in silos, it won't work at the end, because we need to be close to the business. So and stakeholder management is is also one of the key success factor within the procurement journey, and this is how we've been successful so far, by being also customer oriented and internal customer oriented.
Do you know, it's I'm going to ask you to go a bit deeper on this, because so many times when particularly if you believe the emails that you get from technology companies, the way that we as procurement professionals keep up with everything is via technology. More dashboards, more feeds, more analysis, more synthesis of information. You didn't talk about that at all. You said actually the way that we keep up is through close relationships with stakeholders, internal stakeholders, and I guess with vendors as well. Because if something's going on and you've got a good relationship, you're going to hear it from them in a way that's much clearer, I guess, than if you're just relying on dashboards. I mean, is that, how do you put this balance between building relationships with people versus using technology to give you that kind of full width radar of what's going on? Because they're two very different approaches.
In fact, you took a good example earlier with the triangle. So let's keep this this one. With the triangle, so I see three components. The first one, we have the procurement, we have the business owner, and then we have the third angle of the triangle is the technology. So and then we are using technology. We are we keep an eye on the market, what the market is also offering in terms of AI, advanced technology as well. We consider technology as a facilitator with the stakeholders. And I would just give a very simple example with for example, Power BI. So Power BI is very interesting tool from a visual standpoint, and then it helps to break some barriers. So only
Right.
due to the visual and the cosmetics, because some people, some stakeholders, they are sensitive to numbers. Some stakeholders, they are not really sensitive to numbers. And by
Hmm.
using some tools, some technology, it helps. But we should be careful and then define the limit where we have to rely on technology and where we have to rely on the human factor and the collaboration with the business.
I love that idea. And we joked earlier about your very long commute for hybrid working. That your philosophy of achieving that balance between technology and human. I mean, you work in two very different cultures. Do you notice any difference between the way in which you can, I suppose, develop your team to have that balance with those two very sort of different cultural working styles and ethos and behavior? Do you see that as a factor?
Definitively.
Yeah.
And yeah, the cultural aspect is especially in our organization, worldwide people based
Mm.
in multiple countries. Definitively, if you ignore or if you tend to ignore the cultural aspect, uh, you will fail yeah, because
Ah,
it has a significant impact on the collaboration within the procurement team, but also with the stakeholders. So yeah, it's definitively one of the component that people should have in mind, uh, should understand, should respect as well,
right.
uh, and then try to adapt. And coming back to the point I made earlier about agility, keeping in mind the different culture, you also have to be agile instead of trying to impose your way of
Right.
thinking, because it might work at short term, but mid term, long term, you won't be successful.
That's a lovely viewpoint. Well, look, we're nearly out of
Mm,
time. And thank you for sharing so much about culture, agility, the
mm,
balance between people and technology, importance of relationships, and actually the fact that every procurement professional needs to have that baseline capability in terms of knowledge, as you say, that kind of foundation.
yes.
So I have one final question for you. If you were talking to, a future procurement leader just beginning their journey in our profession, based on your experience, what one piece of advice would you give that young person as they step out into the world of procurement?
Do your best, and you will succeed. But doing your best means you should learn from others, and you should also be ready to listen.
Yeah,
Because if you are not a good listener, uh, you will uh, you will miss some opportunities by learning from the audience.
I think that's wonderful advice. Frederic, it was a pleasure meeting with you, and thank you for making time to share your perspective of what it is to lead procurement in your
Mm.
business. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you,
And
Richard.
for anyone watching,
Mm.
um, if you've enjoyed this, please subscribe. We're going to be continuing to interview different leaders from different businesses, different parts of the world. And if you want to be a guest, get in touch as well. But Frederic, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Richard. Have a good day.
Bravo. Good day. Bye
Thank
bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye bye.